Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, welcome to another episode of the Fighters Rep podcast. I am proudly joined by Coach D, my boxing encyclopedia. I guess this is my left to the right of your screen. Coach D, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing phenomenal, brother. How about yourself? Busy weekend.
I'm doing good. It was a busy weekend, but it was a wonderful weekend for fight fans, Coach.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And not just us watching it, but you were also busy working as a broadcaster at an event. Tell me a little bit about that before we get started on this very juicy episode that we got today.
All right. A local promoter I worked with, well, take that back. Two local promoters I worked with here in Houston plenty of times. Next Fight Up and LT Grade Boxing Promotions did a co-promotion. I've been in Houston 20 years, and this is the first time I've seen a co-promotion of local promoters, let alone the two biggest, most popular. Who consistently sell out the venues. Uh, Next Fight Up, I've done broadcasts for them, and we even did a pay-per-view a while back, just testing out the water, seeing how it would come out. I'm no IT guy, and I'm basically doing it just me and Fresh, the guy, the podcast. And man, I'll be damned if we didn't fire on all cylinders this time. No glitches, sound was great, video was great. The only difference was, surely we could upgrade equipment and get better looking quality and stuff. But man, we were without a hitch, man, and I tell you, everybody enjoyed it. LT Gray Promotions enjoyed the broadcast. And how we covered their fighters. Next Fight Up enjoyed the broadcast. Got a lot of feedback, and in fact, the next morning, the owner, promoter, and owner of Next Fight Up called me, man, about 10 o'clock. Coach, we need to sit down, man. All right, let's do an app and start our own platform, and you do the broadcast and what I need to buy and what I need to do. I say, hey, whoa, slow down. I'm freestyling this shit, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know people in visual and audio industry, so I'm gonna see what I can put together, and we'll sit down and talk about it. But the main event was super featherweight Ederson Garcia here, NABF champion. This was his first defense of that title, and as you know, that's the WBC. I guess you would call it a continental title, North American title. And he fought a young kid I've known for a couple of years, D'Angelo Keys here. He was 14-1, about 10, 11 knockouts. Erickson he was 14-0, about 10, 11 knockouts. And then we had LT Gray Promotions namesake, Alfonso Lopez, LT Gray. I don't know if you remember, he was a ranked middleweight in the early 2000s. He fought his first title shot was against another friend of mine, Kelly Pavlik.
Oh, wow. Okay. I think I know who you're talking about, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and he went the distance with Kelly. Kelly was a bomber, man, and I think they fought in Corpus Christi, if I'm not mistaken. But after that first setback, and I think he lost by decision. He started his own promotion here in Houston, man, and got some backers, and they started LT Gray Promotion. He's been on a tear for the last couple of years, and as well as continue his career. And me and him, I mean, we developed a hell of a relationship, man. I was involved with him behind the scenes when he fought Zurdo Ramirez right before he got the De La Hoya, the Golden Boy deal. And I tell you what, he went from 175 pounds. He was talking. He said, "Man, I think I'm gonna do cruiser, man. You know, I think he's about 37, maybe 36, 37. He's only got maybe 2, 3 losses,
Yeah.
right? 30 something. I would have to check, but plenty wins, plenty knockouts. Hell of a fighter, man. Yeah. Educated boxer. A lot of people don't know what they're looking at. You know that. And I tell you, man, if a guy wanted to educate himself about the goings on in the ring and how to control the fight outside of just fighting, just punching, you know, the little things, they could do no wrong by watching him fight and watching me cover his fights. But he fought for the NABF Bridgerweight title. This new Bridgerweight.
Yeah.
I think the class is 200 to 224 pounds. Right. And he came in at 220. So his last fight at the end of last year, I believe, was at light heavyweight. And he fought this fight, and he weighed in at 220. So, you know, being a friend of mine, man, I was paranoid, man. I said, hey, man, as a trainer, man, it's a big not. And I said this during the broadcast, not that he didn't have the ability, because he definitely has the boxing intelligence. And I mean, me and this guy talk shop.
He looked
all
good,
the time,
Coach.
man.
He looked good, man.
But I was worried. I said, man, I'm always confident in Alfonso's ability to defend himself, right? But as a trainer, my training mind is going to take over, and I'm going to say, hey, man, this is heavyweights, man. You can call it what you want. You can call it a Bridgerweight
right.
Or whatever the fuck you want to call it. This boy over here, this Hungarian, is 224, and he's been 224. He's built. He's a heavyweight, right? And I was worried about that. And I had another young a friend of mine, a young dynamic boxer, Darius Fulgham. You know who that is? He was on the USA boxing team.
I think I've heard of him.
He was our ranked heavyweight. He was taking Richard. Richard Torres, who won the silver medal in the Olympics, went up to super heavyweight, right? Yeah. Even though he's not a super heavyweight, he's undersized, and he won the silver. And Darius took that heavyweight spot. And I've been a fan of this kid for a while now, watching him. He's from, I want to say Conroe maybe, or the Woodlands area north of Houston.
Nice.
And he made the team, and he was looking forward to representing the country. And when that, I don't know if you know about how that thing went with COVID and all, how they wouldn't have they canceled all the eliminators and stuff. So what USA Boxing, for the first time, we had pros representing us as a country, but it was those last team USA ranked fighters, the Duke Reagan, Keyshawn Davis, two fighters that I've had on my mitts with me, and I love both of these guys. Tiger Johnson, do you know who that is?
I don't know him.
Okay, he represented us at the Olympics. He just turned pro, just had his debut, signed the top rank.
Nice.
Third round knockout. And another kid who's one of my favorite fighters, I tell him all the time, Troy Eisley. You know who Troy Eisley is?
I think I have heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, they call him the Transformer. He's built like a action figure, man. and I tell you, man, I love that kid too. I've had him on the mitts, but Troy fights for K Corona. Tiger's out of Ohio. And so those guys went represented the country. Well, Darius, he kind of let Darius in limbo, so he went ahead and went pro and got picked up by the guy we love, Slowpoke Joe's management. Sam Jones. Yeah, Sam Jones. S-Jams management.
Okay.
Picked Darius up, and he signed this new Pro Bellum
That's
deal.
interesting. That's interesting.
That that Regis signed with, and I had him. I had him guest commentate a couple fights last night, Saturday night, and did a little interview with him. I just posted it up on YouTube. But he's been helping Alfonso get ready for this Bridgerweight debut, and he said, "Man, Coach, he's such an educated fighter." I said, "Yes." He said, "Nah, man, he ain't gonna have no problems." And I said, "Well, I wasn't expecting any problems, but again, my coach's heart is this is a true heavyweight. I mean, this guy's shoulders and arms was as big as Alfonso's calves,
He was a big guy.
Yeah, but me and Alfonso look eye to eye. I think I'm 6'1". I think he's about 6'1".
Okay.
And that guy, that big boy, maybe 6'2". He was, so it wasn't much of size of difference outside of the experience of the experience of heavyweight and being a true natural heavyweight, which was worried. And he came out shining like new money, like I thought, and right at the bell of the very first round, he kind of half-ass slipped and caught one right high on the forehead, and it knocked him silly, bro.
Damn.
He got a standing 8, and he was firing the bell run. He went back to the corner, and he came back, shake the cobwebs out, came back and dominated the fight. He opened up a cut on this kid, and Joseph Darmos, I believe was his name, and had a winning record, had a great record too. And he dug at that cut and dug and punched on it and hid that right hand like he knows how to do, and come across that, come around that high guard and through that guard and stuff. And he ended up getting a TKO in the 7th. The doctor stopped that fight, but he was on the way to knocking this kid out regardless, of the cut. He was going to knock him out. But so I was proud to be there because that's historic. That was a division, first champion of this division for the NABF. And then I got to call it. And then at the last minute, my man Jeremiah, who did the intro for the Soapboxing podcast, who's the ring announcer for Golden Boy and The Zone. I'm sure you see him, Mexican fella.
Yeah, he does a good job. He's got a good voice.
Perfect voice, man. His voice, he's a short
little
fella,
guy,
but his voice is 10 foot. His voice is 10 foot tall, though, man. And he came over there and slid a message and said, "Hey, man, if y'all want to do the in-ring post interview with Alfonso, man, hop in here." Shit. You ain't got to tell us twice. And me and Fresh jumped in there and did it, and man, we had a blast, man. We had a blast. But Erickson Garcia dominated. I made it. We called it boxing performance of the night. We had a bunch of prospects on this show, and man, it went by without a hitch. And I tell you, I enjoyed it. It's probably my favorite commentating gig I did thus far.
That's awesome, Coach. And I love that you're expanding your horizons, which is something you actually mentioned, I think, on your social media. You wrote, "I've expanded my horizons" and shit, or something like that, right? I mean, that's real good stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I'm interested because I thought the Bridgerweight thing was just going to be with the WBC, but it looks like, if the NABF is doing it, maybe a lot of other sanctioning governing body jumping on board.
That NABF, the NABF is the what they call that, the national for the WBC. It's the WBC's national title. So maybe they just starting there and then building up the rankings. And so right now, Alfonso Lopez is the champion. So and with an NABF title becomes a top 15 world ranking. So I don't know how they're going to do that and who's all involved, but I do know the weight limit is, I believe it's 200 to 224. You got to be over 200 and no bigger than 224. So they went with it. WBC. I mean, the WBC is doing all kind of shit these days. But my thing is, and what I say is, we can critique it from boxing nerds' point of view, But we also gotta say, if it gives fighters a chance to make a living, I say let them fight, crown them. You know, that's my view on the Jake Paul guy. You know, yeah, he's not a fighter or whatever, but when he gave Amanda Serrano $500,000 and gave her a deal, and she's the flagship fighter for most valuable MVP promotions, right?
Yeah.
Well, he won me over. I don't give a damn what he does on YouTube. I'm not watching it anyway.
Right. Now, Coach, I got to ask, I mean, before we move on to Haney versus, I think we should cover Haney versus Diaz first, but Alfonso had a nice little stance there, you know, and when I saw the way he fought, when I saw his stance, I mean, the bell just kept ringing for me, Coach D. I mean, is this a Houston style? Did you teach? Did you have any influence on his style, or is he just, you know, from the same kind of school of thought as you, or what is that?
No, I have nothing. You know, this guy, I've met him a couple of years ago. So I mean, we talk now. You can ask him if I've added to him as far as through our dialogue and him implementing it in the gym. But no, he's a legacy guy out of Cut and Shoot, Texas. And I'm about to blow a biggie right now because the old man, top guy here, Cut and Shoot. Oh my God, I can't believe that. But he fought Floyd Patterson. He was in line to fight Sonny Liston. This is all in the '60s, and this is Alfonso Lopez's lineage in boxing, right? Because he was a college football player, and he was going to school up there in north of Houston, and found a boxing gym, I guess, to get in shape. He told me the story, and then hell, he took the boxing and gave away his scholarship and wanted to fight.
Yeah.
And you know, the rest is history. But I think why he and I hit it off is because we're both what they consider old school boxing, right? We both learned from men who were steeped in the sport in its golden era, you know, when guys had to be able to fight or they couldn't even, you know, they couldn't show up. And when he and I met and started talking it up, man, we started realizing how much we had in common, how much theory we had in common. And no, he's very much not like a Houston, what I would consider a Houston style boxer. I would say he's not that, which is when I came here and brought my New Orleans history, New Orleans pugilism with me. I was so different, and it's kind of the reason why Quentin had such a hard time with getting people to get behind him, because he was winning, but they didn't understand it. You know, they didn't understand why this kid's skinny. He shouldn't be done. But I told him, hey, man, just keep winning, man. Put your head down. It ain't for them to understand. We just going to keep winning. So I would say we had that in common. But absolutely, we talk tech. Hell, I've made videos for him, man.
Wow, man. Well, I could tell by the way he was fighting. I was just like, man, did Coach like have something to do with this, or? But yeah, I mean, definitely looks like.
Now I think he's a. I mean, if he would say I had something, that would be beautiful. But he's got a hell of a trainer, and Coach Lopez, and again, who started him out, man? He's a hell of a fighter, man. And I gravitate towards those guys. You know, when I see something, you know, there's a standout young lady here from Houston. I'm gonna give her a shout out right now. She's our Jury Rodriguez, man, and she just won the Pan Am.
I know who she is because of you, by the way.
Okay. You see how behind her I am, and I mean she's a standout. I tell you, man, there is no way she won't be a world champion. here shortly too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she's planning on for these next Olympics, and if she does, I'm talking gold medal. I'm talking about the whole 9 yards, man. If any of the fans of the show get a chance to look up Jury Rodriguez, I call her our crown jewel. I mean, she's bad, bro.
Yeah.
She is bad, man.
That's awesome.
She is bad.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, exciting stuff. I'm very happy for you. But now we got to get into the meat and potatoes, Coach.
All right, let's go.
Devin Haney versus Jojo Diaz. You know, Coach, I watched this fight. I scored this fight. I scored the Tank Davis fight. I had this fight closer than the judges. I thought Jojo Diaz probably had the tools to beat Devin Haney in that fight, but just didn't let his, I don't know, I felt like he didn't let his hands go enough. I felt like maybe he didn't have the conditioning to do that. Good win. My takeaway is good win for Devin Haney. He's only 23 years old. But once again, showed fragility. I think that's what Sergio Mora said in that last round. I mean, besides getting hit clean several times throughout the fight, was really hurt in that last round. And this is the second fight in a row. And that gives me a little bit of worry for Devin Haney. And I don't think I'm as high on him anymore as I was in the past after watching him fight these two guys. But you know, I wanted your thoughts on the fight and what you thought about the fight.
Okay, I was calling the fight, so of course I didn't get to see it, but I knew we was doing a recap. I did get to watch Tank, but I didn't sit down with my pencil and paper like normal, and I planned on rewatching so I could do that so we can compare notes as far as points. But I'm gonna let you take the lead on your card with that one. But I did watch. I mean, I have points and views.
People are not gonna like what I think about Tank Davis, man. Let me tell you, I think I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that one.
Well, so I watched Devin and Jojo, and people know. I mean, anybody who listens to me or watches the podcast or even watches our show, I'm so high on Devin Haney. You know, everybody knows that. No, listen, but Devin Haney has never displayed any boxing prowess or education to me, okay? And he's what I would consider, and I've said this to you, he's a hell of an athlete, and I would love to have had that kid from the beginning, right? But I believe this was his best performance I've ever seen because he absolutely had a game plan on how to fight Jojo and did it and followed directions. And there is no way and no one that will make me believe that wasn't absolutely due to old box fit Ben. He hasn't been able to set a trap or follow anything ever since I've been watching this kid. And in two fights, a guy who I believe, and I don't know Ben Davison, a guy who I believe is probably, and who's accomplished more than me, but I believe he's the best young trainer. Can we say training prospect?
Yeah, I mean,
can we say that? I mean, even though he's been with Billy Joe and Tyson.
I think you call him a full-on trainer. I mean, come on. I mean, he's very talented, you know?
So I'm trying to come up with the word, though. I guess let's just say a young trainer. He's the best young trainer out there because the guy ain't even 30 years old, I don't believe.
I agree.
So I see an immediate impact because there is no way in hell that Devin Haney knew to pedal to his right into Jojo's power, knew to use his lead to just measure and let the two go. Bro, he started that fight as if that was Quentin fighting a left-handed fighter.
Right.
I said, what is this guy doing? He don't know to do this. He don't know to do this shit. And I would watch him go back to the corner, and his dad would say what he would say, and then Haney would look right up to his left, up and to his left, and you'll see old Box Fit Ben leaning over there giving him a few words, and he went out there. Now, his ability to stick to the game plan into the middle rounds, and then when Jojo got some things going, but he was able to get back to it a little bit, showed me a leaps and bounds of growth that I didn't think he had the ability to do. But to Devin Haney fans in particular, when you add a trainer, that's the difference. When you add a boxing guy, that's the difference he can make. Now, I don't know his father. I'm not shitting on his father. His father got him to what would you say, world renowned?
Right.
I guess
world
renowned.
Ranked. Yeah, world ranked for sure.
World ranked and everything, and it's probably time to add an element and credit his father for allowing that to happen too. But I seen growth from Devin Haney, and trust me, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it at all. So what people may have seen as hesitancy in Jojo, no. He wasn't allowing Jojo to start.
I see.
Jojo being a fighting man, just at some point said, piss on this. I got to go forward and start shooting. And had he done it earlier, maybe we'd have got a different outcome. But I scored that fight 7-4-1. I had one round dead ass even. But if you would have had it 8-4 Haney or 6-5 Haney, I think both of those are fair. But no, Devin Haney won that fight. Now, did he dominate and shit like the worst commentators in boxing were saying? No, of course not. Of course not. I seen Jojo crack him, and he was buzzed for sure 2 times. You know, Devin Haney, and that's the problem with being an athlete rather than a fighting man. Devin Haney doesn't like to get hit, G.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I mean, it bothers him, and it shows. It shows in his body language. Yeah. It really does, man. It really does, and you know, I thought Jojo had as good a shot as anybody to actually wobble this kid, maybe get him out of there and everything. I didn't pick him, but I remember saying, you know, Jojo could beat this guy. This could be a bad fight for him.
Yeah.
I tell you, with what George Kambosos showed us in that Tito fight, Haney's fucked if he fights this kid, man.
Yeah.
That kid's not good. Kambosos is gonna be relentless.
Right.
Relentless. He ain't gonna back off and give you no
yeah,
space.
that's why I think Kambosos is a tough matchup for him. That's a tough match. I mean, assuming it's the same Kambosos that came out against Tio. I mean, we don't know if you know, maybe that was
right. We don't know if that was a one and done, if that was just Tio's shit perform or whatever the case. But based on what we had, yeah, man, I favor Kambosos.
Coach,
fight.
Can I ask you?
I favor him.
Can I ask you which fight you scored a tie, or which round you scored a tie? Do you remember?
Oh man, I wrote it down.
Okay. I had
between 8 and 7 and 9, maybe, or 8 and 10, something like that. Which
I had a tie. I think it was, I want to say round 4, but I had Haney winning the fight. Basically 7 rounds to 6, and one of them was a tie. I mean, that's the way I saw it. I had Haney winning probably closer than most people, only because, you know, I just thought Jojo was landing the more effective shots most of the time.
Yeah.
But, you know, there was, because of, you know, what you said, because of the way Haney was fighting, you know, I guess there were rounds.
Well, it was. There was a point. I think you got to give Haney them early rounds. Let's say 3, 1, 2, 3.
Number 4 is the one I had a tie. Number 4 is the one I had them a tie.
So 4, and maybe the next 2, Jojo started banging out, right? But then right after that, and I wrote a little side note, Jojo started like waiting. He started waiting. And if you watch now Jojo was getting splendid direction. I listen to the direction in the corner whenever I can hear it. And his trainer was telling me exactly what to do. And I think at some point Jojo started waiting with the intention of winning that last minute, right? Or the second half. Let's call it the second half of the rounds. Trying to take the rounds. And I think the rounds he won, that's what he did, right? Even if Devin got something going, he picked his shot, boom, he popped him, maybe backed him up, and then he started letting his hands go. But once he started that overly waiting, I was like, oh no, man, you're letting these rounds get away from you, and then you're gonna paint yourself into a spot where you gotta knock him out, you know.
Right.
And thus far, I think you peppered him once or twice, but and then I don't know if Jojo's considered a knockout puncher really or not.
Not really. Yeah, I don't think he's really considered.
That's never a good. Yeah, that's never a good plan anyway. I'm gonna just knock him out.
Right.
Nah, that shit don't work like that. But he put up a hell of a fight, and he was game, and that fight was close. And like we said prior, Jojo Diaz could win that fight, and he could. Yeah. He showed he can win that fight. What Haney showed me was the ability to follow direction and actually somebody add to him, and I'm gonna just credit Ben Davison. Somebody gave him the strategy on how to fight a southpaw correctly, according to me, right? Which is different than the rule of thumb, fucking with your feet and all that bullshit. But yeah, man. I was so if I've never been impressed with Haney, I was impressed with Haney. Haney impressed me early in this fight for sure. And his ability to stick to it. Yeah. Even when he started backing up and giving Jojo the room to work, he started he would get some pace back.
Yeah, I just I said beforehand, I thought Haney was a good choice. My brain was telling me Haney for our prediction, but I said my heart was telling me Jojo, because I just thought, again, if he would have let his hands go a bit more, he could have won that fight. But like you said, maybe it's what Haney was doing that didn't let it happen. Now
it was absolutely early. It was absolutely tactics that was throwing Jojo off. Yeah. Why he couldn't get off. It was because Haney was pedaling, using his lead hand to keep him at bay and shoot that right hand down and up, up and down. And Jojo didn't know where the punches was coming from yet. Gotcha. So it took him a minute to figure that out.
Now I want to touch on the Kambosos thing because, man, this division and everything around is getting real interesting. I thought Tank was the man in and around the division. We'll get to that in a second. We thought Tio was the man up until recently. It looks like Kambosos might be the man, but again, Coach, it's going to depend on which Kambosos comes out, right? We just haven't seen enough of him. Now, in my opinion, if the Kambosos that comes out against Teofimo fights the Haney that came out against Jojo Diaz, as impressive as Haney was against Jojo,
he'll cook it.
I even worry that he gets stopped by Kambosos in the later rounds because, again, he keeps showing this fragility at the end of the fight where he gets touched and he gets wobbled all over the place. A young, hungry dog like Kambosos, he's not going to let you off the hook, in my opinion, Coach.
Man, Haney is so fundamentally deficient, bro. He doesn't listen, man. He's got a 72-inch reach for a 5'7", 5'8" guy, and he can't use it because his fucking feet so wide apart. It's he has no balance. When he gets hit flush, he's all over the place. Think about it. Boom. When he gets hit flush, he's wobbling around like a fucking baby calf, bro. this kid is pure. Now, maybe I shouldn't say not a fighter, because clearly, if he wasn't a fighter, right, he wouldn't be able to bang back with Jojo, get back in there with Linares, and all these things. But he's not an educated fighter. Is my whole thing.
Right.
He and this was the first signs of he was educated in a gymnasium. Somebody taught him how to do something, and he did it. He took in the information. Clearly, he worked on it, and he did it in the ring.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll stick to, is not he doesn't have the ability to be a educated prize fighter. No one's taught him. He's been getting over on reflexes, and again, that I say playing tag, right? I'm gonna tag you and you can't tag me. I'm gonna tag you twice and you tag me once, and that's how he fights. His punches are never turned over. But today, Saturday, today, I seen he was turning that right hand over straight to the abdomen. Boom! He's shooting it in there. Somebody's showing him that, because he's never done that. He's never done that, man. And he's still deficient in so many ways. And maybe because he's an athlete, he'll be able to shorten his learning curve, right? Maybe he'll pick up some things. But I'm never gonna believe, even though George is my big no, front-footed, right? He's a smart fighter, though. He has a arsenal. He knows how to go to the body and head. He knows how to double up on either side. He knows how to go around the guard, split the guard, come up, throw uppercuts. He just has, I would have liked to seen him with a better hip frame, but hell, it's working. Look what he just did, man. And we saying, I guess what we saying is, if it's just a one-hit wonder, maybe Haney will give him trouble or whatever. But I'm going to leave that shit alone. The man who beat the man is the fucking man.
Right.
So you got to beat him. I'm not going to take it from him, man. I'm not going to take his accolades, man. This whole thing, even Haney's phony title, all starts with Lomachenko.
Right.
And we can't say Lomachenko was the man and not credit the guy who beat him and the guy who beat that guy.
Yeah.
Right? So, to me, if you want to beat a man, you got to beat George Kambosos, if you ask me. And I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park regardless.
Yeah, no, I agree. Again, it's tough to make a prediction on that fight. I definitely think Haney could beat him.
Yeah.
But I just think, if that Kambosos from last time shows up versus the Haney that I saw last time, it's almost like he's the kryptonite for Haney, right? Because if you let your hands go and you got some power and you're young and you don't have any problems with your cardio, I feel like that's George Kambosos. You know what I mean? He's all of that.
Well, think about this. He deterred Jojo early. Purely tactics. Purely tactical. Right? Okay. We've seen Haney, and tactics matter, especially conventional versus southpaw, right? But we've seen Haney in there with right-hand fighters, and now he doesn't have a trick to keep nobody at bay. In there with a right-handed fight, he's going to have to outfight this kid.
Yeah.
You're going to have to outfight him. Now, here's my thinking. What in Haney's career, in his past, has shown you that he's going to outfight a guy who, whether you had Selby winning or not, George Kambosos never quit trying to win that fight.
Right.
Constantly, he was trying to win the fight, right? And he damn sure never stopped trying to beat T.O. and close the show all the way to the last round. So what is he going to do? He's going to out-athlete Kambosos? I think Kambosos is – I don't think he's going to have a trump card like he did against Jojo against Kambosos. In other words, what's going to be your way to keep him off you? Because that weak ass jab that you can't turn over, that nothing's on it. Man, you're not gonna deter this kid. He's liable to you start touching him. He did show me in the TO fight he can shoot that right hand right over on top of your jab. Didn't you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Cambosa.
Yeah, I did.
He can shoot that straight right hand and the overhand right past any kind of bullshit jab.
And that's how he sat T.O. down in the first round, right?
Absolutely. Right on the temple and set him down. So listen, man, I know Haney's been in the light longer than Cambosa, you know. But man, you're gonna have to convince me if you think Haney's got something for Cambosa, because, you know, shit, I think everybody is just about more dangerous to Cambosa's title than I think he's less. I think Haney's the least dangerous guy out there of the name guys. But again, that's me, bro. I was never a high Haney guy.
In Australia, in front of 80,000 people, if it happens, that's I'm sure that's tough. That's going to be tough for Haney, and if he can do that, that's very impressive. I'll credit
the shit out of him if he can do that.
That's real impressive, and I'm not saying he can't. I just think for me right now, that's a tough pick, Coach.
What would you say that fight is, G? 2-1, huh? Or would you say it's wider?
I don't know. I mean,
well, how would you set the odds? 50-50? 2-1? 3-1?
It's something I gotta think about. It might even be less than 2-1, but I would favor Kambosos. I think Haney, you know, because he's just so long, you know, it's hard to ignore that. And then, you know, the odds makers, you know, I'm picking it as if I was one of the odds makers. I mean, I don't know, maybe they know as much about this as we do. Maybe they know more. But for me, definitely, like, it would probably be a 2-1 for Kambosos at this point. At this point, I would say 2-1 Kambosos. How about yourself, Coach?
Yeah, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with that 2-1. I'm not gonna make Kambosos no landslide favorite, but he's definitely favored to win that fight to me. In fact, that, you know, I've said as much to his guy. Yeah, that's the fight to make. If you can't get, to me, Kambosos should be able to get a freebie, if you ask me, in Australia in front of 80,000. I think he should get. He's got every strap that they got. He should be able to pick which number one and pick the least dangerous ones and go make him some money, because what he did last time out, he can do that. He can do that. So, and then back to back, get your hometown Haney.
He doesn't seem to want.
I mean, don't.
He doesn't seem to want a freebie, though. He doesn't want a freebie. He wants to kill. He wants to kill people.
Yeah, he doesn't. He wants the. He's not trying to do a free ride. He wants
all the smoke, Coach.
I'm thinking of it from managerial perspective.
Right. By the way, shout out to Zaki Mosey, John Gomez, UK Weed, Hawker Mustang. Appreciate you guys being in here. Hawker's saying, Coach, he's saying, I scored it the same way for Haney. It was very competitive, but Haney won. Then he says Diaz would get Haney into trouble, but then he would back off and let Haney off the hook. I thought that was kind of the case as well sometimes. And then he says if Kambosos was not intimidated by Lopez Jr., then I don't see why he would be intimidated by Haney Jr. and his sloppy shoulder roll he is sometimes using.
There's zero reason that anyone should be intimidated by Devin Haney. I mean, especially the top lightweights in the world, man. I mean, why would you be, you know? And again, bro, it's not me shitting on Devin Haney, but it's just not no education there, man. No real fighting man's gonna say, "Oh, bro, this kid." Cause what's special about him? He can't punch. When's the last time he hurt somebody?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Or set him down.
It's been a while.
Yeah, he can't punch. It's a actual foot race when you're in there with him. Are you as fast as him? Because that's what he's going to try to outdo you. He's going to try to land shots. That's what he's going to do.
Right. And so before we continue on to the next fight that I want to talk about, I want to ask all of you guys to please subscribe Join the channel if you haven't already. Get your Fighters Rep merchandise in the link below. Fighters Rep 12 is coming February 18th. You can only watch it by joining the channel. Follow us on Fighters Rep on Instagram and follow Coach Collinsworth at Soapboxing Podcast on Instagram. If you want to follow him personally, Coach, I always forget the new Instagram handle after you were hacked.
Just Collinsworth Boxing Official.
Boxing Official.
I just put an official on it.
You can follow Coach as he expands his horizons, not only as a coach, but also into the commentary game. Coach, you didn't get to watch the whole thing, right? Or you did, but you didn't get to score it the way you wanted to.
Yeah, I didn't score it, and by the time we started communicating like we normally do, I didn't feel Tank was being beat up for sure, but not hellified behind either.
Right.
Though those rounds, I mean, it's another one, man, and that depending on what you're watching and what you're looking for, you can be giving Cruz those pick'em rounds, rather than even rounds. I didn't see Tank getting hit enough for me to say, ooh, he's in trouble. Flush. And then by the time, and I know they're saying now, they're saying the hand was hurt from the beginning or whatever, but I seen when he hurt the hand.
You called that. You called that before I even noticed it.
And he quit. And he totally quit using it. So, in a flat performance, I guess and your hands hurt. Well, maybe it was hurting a little while before then, but no, I seen him hurt the hand, and because he quit using the thing, and I seen him try to use it again, like make up in his mind, let me see, boom, throw the straight left, and then he quit punching again. So the hand was absolutely hurt, but like Coach Ford said in the post fight, yeah, he told me his hand hurts, and I said, so the fuck what?
Right,
so what?
Right,
Go win the fight, which is what you're supposed to do. But I'm at a disadvantage because I didn't score the fight like I normally do. I wasn't sitting there with pencil and paper, and so I gotta go with your score, Joe.
You don't want to go with mine, Coach. You don't want to go with mine.
Well, if somebody was to argue, from what I watched, okay, if you wanted to argue that Cruz, it was a draw, I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, the dude was competitive. Right. He was in the fight. He was going forward. Clean, effective shots. Was Tank till his hand hurt, and then he just had to bide time with that right hand. But how big a margin did you have? Clearly, you had Cruz winning, correct?
I did, and I'm probably going to get raked over the coals for this one. But I actually scored it. And I want to preface my score. I want to preface my score, right? And the same thing with the Haney fight. My understanding, Coach, of scoring criteria in combat sports is first we look at significant strikes, which means the ones that had an effect, the most influential to the outcome of the fight.
I found the problem.
Okay,
right
second, I look at, besides significant fights, second, I look at volume, like punches landed, and then third, third is the tertiary. I look at the aggression and the ring generalship and stuff. That's my understanding of scoring from the rules that I've read. So maybe that's why I'm seeing it wrong.
Well, clearly, aggression would go to Cruz.
Well, yeah, but my understanding is you only look at that, right, if the effective strikes are even and the volume is still even and you can't make a decision, my understanding is you go to aggression as a third option after looking at those. That's what my understanding of the scoring criteria.
Ring generalship overwhelmingly is Tank Davis. Cruz sometimes ran past him like a bull in a matador, man, and damn near ran out the ring.
Right.
and I would say clean, effective punching. I would say Tank Davis, but it was the least active, right? Which makes it hard to score. But this is for me. I can't argue your score because I didn't score.
Right.
But I didn't feel at the end of the fight. I didn't feel like Tank Davis got beat up or beat or he was out of it was something out of control. And then by the time I seen the hand wasn't working, I said, well, shit, he's still trying with that right hand, but I can't argue.
Right.
Because I didn't score.
I'm definitely gonna need you to sit down and score it round by round. For me, coach, I will. For me, coach, I had it. Believe it or not, people are gonna flame me for this one. 116, 113 for Cruz. As I was scoring it round by round, I thought in the rounds I gave to Cruz, I thought he was landing a much.
That's a clear win.
I thought he was landing the much cleaner shots in the rounds that I was scoring. In the first 4 rounds, I had it for Cruz, and then for me, it shifted over to Tank. In round 5 is when he started to take over a bit. I thought after that it was a little back and forth, but again, that's just my opinion. I felt like the guy was landing shots, snapping Tank's head back, landing heavy body shots, and Tank was just kind of. Most of the time throughout the fight, I felt like he wasn't doing much or enough at all.
Early on, it was evident that Tank was out of his element fighting a littler guy. He didn't like that at all. And it was evident by the way he was backing up, right? He's the forward guy. He's the go forward guy. And so he didn't like Lil Cruz getting up underneath him and shit. So that he had to contend with that. So I'm sure that is your early rounds out as well, right? I'm sure you've seen that. Like, oh, this kid's uncomfortable. You don't know what to do with him. So I've seen that as well. What you first said, and maybe you can help me here, right? You said in combat sports, bro, clearly I have no issue with MMA or kickboxing or any of the martial arts, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm doing a podcast with a kickboxing guy, right? I love fights. I love fighting, right?
Right.
But man, I think we fucking up as a sport by pretending combat sports is a thing. Like, to me, boxing, pugilism is a thing. Kickboxing is a thing. MMA is a thing. MMA is a thing that's a bunch of things, right? But I think it's easy to get, like, if you don't put your pugilism hat on when you're watching a boxing match, you fuck around and look at FightersRep, right? And correct me if I got any of this shit wrong when I'm out of my element. But when I look at FightersRep, to me the draw to FightersRep and what drew me, right? Why I don't mind being associated and being involved in us making a show and all that shit, because I love the fact that it was considered a striking. It's about striking. It's the best strikers in the world, right? Yeah. Meaning. Which you mean strikers? I kick the shit out of you, right? Or I knee you, whatever. Punches. We gonna do it all, right? That's not boxing at all. Even though it's kickboxing, right? That because it's to me it's like the art of striking, right? That's what it is. It's the elite strikers. They gonna fight each other, and I think I gotta try to learn to get me a kickboxing hat, right? So I can watch the fights. And in the fights you showed me, I'm like, all right, dude, what's this or what's that? Because I'm not going to pretend because I'm a boxing guy, I'm a kickboxing guy. I'm not going to do that because I would be fucking lying to you, me, and everybody else. So, and when I watch an MMA fight, UFC or anything, I try to put my limited as mixed martial arts hat on. So I think if combat sports is not just a basic term to refer to any fighting deal, just because it's a fighting sport, If we're using it in that context, I get it. But if we're using it in a context like, well, nah, man, because if you score a fight A, B, and C, that's how you score a kickboxing fight. That's how you score a boxing fight. That's how you score. I don't agree with that shit at all, bro. Like, I don't agree with that at all, bro. I think you would be a damn fool and never succeed to think you're gonna go to FightersRep and think you're gonna just box. You better know how to kickbox, or would I be out of the thing to say Muay Thai? That's kickboxing, right? Like Muay
it's
Thai,
actually
right?
it's different. Muay Thai, they can use elbows, and they can clinch. You can
So different rules, but is it kickboxing though? Is it?
It's different.
Would you consider
No,
that
no.
or no?
Muay Thai is different. Yeah,
See?
Muay Thai is different.
See, bro? See? So how the hell am I gonna know? How am I gonna be able to do? What I can do is say, if you say, Coach, I got this, I got a guy, a kickboxer. I think he's a hell of a boxer. What you think? Well, I can go look and say, well, I see this, and this, and this. But the shit that's out of my range, I don't know, bro. But you know, that's my biggest thing about MMA, bro. I can't score an MMA fight.
Yeah.
The Texas Athletic Commission, I remain nameless, but I know a judge, love him to death, a former amateur boxer and everything, right? TDLR, the Texas Department of Licenses, they hire the boxing referees to do the MMA.
Oh, they all
referees.
do everything.
And I asked them
Yeah, they all
said,
do everything here too. It's the
Yeah.
same way here with CSAC. They all like you know Cecil Peoples. You know Cecil Peoples. You never heard of Cecil Peoples? He's like a pretty famous boxing judge. He referees or he judges all our fights. Like he's been at all of our fights.
All right, so watch this. I said, Coach, this guy. I said, you judge the MMA? Yeah. I said, how? What's the rules? Fuck, I don't know. You know, if the guy gets on top of him, you know, he's winning. And then I know when they standing up, I say, Jesus Christ. Now this is an educated boxing guy, right? He judges the boxing fights fair, very impartial. But I'm like, man, I wouldn't take a job judging an MMA fight, bro. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't, because it's not going to be fair. So I think when Dana White, and as far as I know, that's when I first heard of it. When Dana White started saying that combat sports shit, it was like, to me, he was trying to, as bad as he's trying to run boxing away from his fighters now, it used to be the opposite, because when it used to be, oh, we'll just kill boxers. It don't matter what they do. We can box, put the gloves on, because that's just one of our things. You remember when everybody was saying that. And then the MMA guys getting there, get their fucking ass kicked. Same way we get our ass kicked going into that cage. Well, now the illusion's gone now. Conor McGregor, who was y'all best dude, came to our sport, and a little bitty dude fucking toyed with him. So now the illusion's gone. Now you're saying, leave my fighters alone. Well, you started the combat sports shit. You thought that your top elite MMA guys was gonna go to fucking in a prize fight ring and be able to fight with world champions and fall, but that's fucking silly.
Yeah.
That's the silliest thinking. That's the silliest thinking Floyd Mayweather.
Coach, to be fair,
I
don't think Dana White actually thought McGregor was going to beat Floyd Mayweather. I just think that they knew that it was going to make. I think that they just knew it was going to make a shit ton of money, and so they made the fight happen. If I'm being honest with you, but
so much money he was willing to let his star go over there and get.
But because
that's what I'm saying.
But that's the cool part about MMA culture, I think, and which is something that I hope becomes.
It doesn't matter.
Right, if you lose, you lose. The best. Sugar Ray Leonard lost. Muhammad Ali lost. All these guys. Joe Frazier lost. George Foreman lost. Yes. I mean, the best fighters in the world lost. And so I'm all for that culture of, I'm gonna send my guy in there. Whatever happens, happens. But to be fair, Coach, I don't think White. White used to teach. White knows about boxing. I don't think he thought McGregor, who'd never had a boxing fight in his life, was gonna beat the guy who's probably one of the best that's ever done it.
I bet you. I bet you McGregor thought Dana White
Oh
thought he
yeah,
could
oh
win
yeah. I'm
though.
sure he did.
I bet you that.
I'm sure he did.
Dude, does anybody on planet Earth that even has my understanding of MMA think that little Floyd Mayweather could go get in a fucking cage with Conor
Oh
McGregor
no. Oh
and
no.
win?
Oh no. No way. No way.
If you do, as a boxing guy, if you do, you're a fucking idiot, right? But that's my point. That's my point. These things are completely
Right.
different shit.
But I'm
bro.
asking you, Coach.
Completely
I'm
different
asking you. I know it's different. You know, maybe I'm wrong as far as the criteria and all that. But for me, and maybe I'm wrong, but for me, my understanding of the rules is it's the significant punches landed. Isn't that the most important thing? Like the person who lands the hardest blow that could perhaps bring out the end of the fight, and then after that you look at the other stuff, or is everything looked at simultaneously?
You know what I think, bro? You want to know my clear understanding, bro? Seriously.
Yeah.
He who controls the pace of the fight wins the fight, unless he gets knocked out. So the guy controlling the fight. Willie Pep won a round one time without punching a fucking guy. But depending on what he was doing with his footwork and movement and stance, was making this guy react, right? So he was controlling him while not fighting, right? So I think that's where things like ring generalship is so important that it gets overlooked by. To me, Devin Haney is the it guy. He's the tag your it guy.
Yeah.
He's gonna outland everybody. Yeah. But what the fuck is that? What is that? That ain't shit.
Right.
Not if a guy's controlling him, controlling the tempo, controlling the pace, and has ring generalship. So I'm not devaluing what you're saying. Who's landing the more punches? But to me, that's more of like amateur UFC
not
boxing.
landing the more.
Remember, we used to have
but not landing the more punches. For me, again, I'm going by what I saw because I believe we follow the ABC boxing rules here in California, at least to some extent, or you can choose to. And that's the only time I've ever seen anything like written down about how judges should be scoring. And my understanding of what was written in that, and I'm not saying it applies everywhere, but at least the way they were describing it, my understanding of that, my based on my own reading comprehension, is we look at significant or rather effective strikes first, and then if we can't make a decision there, we go to the second rung, which is volume, who landed the more punches. And if it's still even and we still can't decide, then we go to ring generalship and aggression. Now, one thing I really appreciate about what you're saying, Coach, is, and I like to think I'm pretty smart sometimes, but sometimes you say stuff and I'm just like, oh, I'm an idiot. Coach just put this obvious thing, right in my face and made me figure it out.
Take me out of boxing and
but it's amazing the way you put stuff, because I'm left-handed. Maybe that has something to do with the way I think, and it just, the way you put it allows me to absorb it. So what you just helped me understand, which I didn't understand before, I'll be honest with you, was the difference between aggression and ring generalship as the third rung, right? Because I always thought, well, how do I parse, right, ring generalship from aggression? If the guy's moving forward, isn't he controlling the ring? But you just, in a very obvious way, explained to me without even trying, right, that Tank Davis was absolutely the general in the ring by having this guy move around like a matador while he was the bull, you know what I mean? Or while Cruz was the bull, he was the matador.
Right, but and probably what I was looking at and paying attention without sitting there with my pencil and paper, maybe I'd have seen it different. Maybe I'd have seen it more your way. But just my boxing eyes, I'm going, okay, yeah, Tank's figuring him out because this guy is shorter. I never did say, oh, Tank's having a problem with him because he's beating him up, right? I said, nah, the guy's littler than him. He's used to being the bull. This guy is the bull, so now he's got to back up and look for space and shit, right? And once I seen he figured him out, he said, okay, all I do is just, wave my my red towel here, and he'll go through the motherfucker, and then I'll boom. I hit him a few times. So that's with my eyes not really focused on scoring it. I didn't see, and then when I clearly knew he hurt his hand for real, I said, let me see how he deals with this, right? Let me see how he deals with this setback, and to me, he dealt with it pretty damn good to say he couldn't use it, right? But again, if I sit down, and I will do it, and I'll report back, and we'll post and everything, man, how I scored the thing. But did I see Cruz winning that fight by 3 rounds? Nah, man, I didn't see that. I didn't see that at all, man. So let me go and look and see. Let me go look and see, bro, because I feel like I missed something. Because, dude, I mean, you give me credit, bro, and I appreciate it, and probably too much credit. But, we started talking because I think you fucking know what you're looking at, too. But it's all subjective, right? Like everything is subjective. You favor what you favor in a fight. I favor what I favor in a fight, and we got to kind of try to figure it out. But, I'm interested in scoring it too now because I want to see how my pencil and paper pull out. Maybe some of those rounds, because they were several close. Those rounds was close, man. Right. So you could easily say Cruz, especially if you don't like old Tank. Right. You can easily say, man, he ain't doing much.
Well, the thing is, I'll be honest with you, Coach. I mean, I tried to remain objective. I like Tank. I'll be honest, I like Tank. I don't know Cruz to be honest, I didn't know much about Cruz at all. I just thought he was going to go in there and get knocked out in the 6th round, if I'm being honest with you. But
me too.
He really showed me something. And here's another way that I feel like my criteria lines up with your way of thinking. Is you mentioned Haney. He just touches people. What is that? You can't win like that, right?
Right.
But that's, that kind of goes with the way I read the criteria is, number one, the most important thing is the big shots that are landed. And then we only look at volume after that, because if we looked at volume first, then we'd be in the amateurs, right? I mean, it'd be just tag you're it kind of deal. So I don't know. That's just the way I read it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I look forward to hearing what you have to say about it. And you really sit down and scoring it. I look forward to it.
Oh, well, and look, the rules that you just read, it's funny how that you said to me that you've read. That's clear too. That makes sense to me too, as well, right? But it's everything subjective in our fucking sport. I mean, that's how we get that's how we get fucking horrible decisions that we all disagree with, because damn, he wasn't doing none of those things, But that's kind of my thing. He who controls the pace normally wins the fight. And I think old Max Kellerman said a good one time. He said, when I watch close fights that I'm having problems with, at the end I'm like, okay, who the fuck I'd rather be? If I was one of those guys, which one? And I'm like, which one? That'll surely tell you, okay, he had problems, but he didn't get his ass whooped, right? Nobody wants to be the guy who got his ass whooped. And again, that's subjective. It is very. And Hawker Mustang is in here saying, I scored Tank versus Cruz a draw, so he had it a draw. So this thing was all over the place. And me barely. But remember, I said just watching it, not scoring. I said, if guys told me Cruz, if it was a draw. Hell, I'm not going to dispute that. I'm not going to dispute that because the fight I was watching was close. Yeah. It was a close fight.
Now, let's touch on this real quick, Coach, and then we'll get into our predictions for this weekend's fights. But Hawker brings up an interesting thing. He says, I always like to watch Tank fight, but I didn't like the way he has been being moved. He has been moved very cautiously. And Hawker says, now we see why. Now, I'm not going to put... I'm not gonna put too much hate on Tank because he had one off night. I think he's looked fabulous. And if you would have asked me before Saturday night, I would probably rank Tank as the best in the division. I'm really impressed by him most of the time. But Saturday kind of changed. It kind of threw me into disarray, Coach. After Kambosos and Haney and Tank and everything else going on around the division,
Well,
I don't even know what to think anymore. I want to ask you what you think of that. Is he being moved too cautiously?
let me say this to Harker, and I think that's a fair assessment. But I just 30 minutes ago said, if I was managing George Kambosos, I would take him to Australia, fill up a soccer stadium against the weakest number one. Still a number one, but the weakest number one. And why? Because I believe he earned that spot. But I don't believe Tank earned that spot. What I believe is Tank sells fights. Right. Actually, people show up now. Credit the Floyd Mayweather PBC fanboys or whatever you want. Credit Floyd Mayweather fanboys just following who the king ordained as their guy or whatever the case may be. But he has had some spectacular knockouts, which has probably drawn in outside of those guys, right? Yeah. So I think when you say he's now we see no. That was a last minute replacement. A little bitty guy. Rolly's bigger than Tank. Right. He ends up fighting a little bitty Mexican style front footed bull. That has a lot to do with his performance, as well as later on his hand getting whatever. But no, man, listen, man. If you want to argue the truth, Leo Santa Cruz, what other lightweight beat Leo Santa Cruz level fighter?
Right. No, I agree. I think Tank. I still think Tank is the man. I think he's special, Coach. I'll be honest. I think Tank is a special guy.
Now that's the one guy Tank beat, right? But it's a hell of a guy, right? It's like if you say Tio, he beat Comey and he beat another guy, but he beat fucking Lomachenko. Right. Okay, right. That's a hell of a one guy, right? And then George Kambosos, he got the Selby, and what's the other guy he beat? The name guy, and then
Vicky Bay.
But he Bay, but he fucking dominated Teofimo Lopez. Right. So that's his one guy, right? So it's all up for debate, and I think the one thing that none of them got, including Lomachenko, is Tank Davis sells tickets, bro. Tank Davis can go to Atlanta and sell out the football stadium. Crazy, yeah. Right? Whether we like it or not. Teal was in the small room in MSG, right? I don't think Haney's
Kambosos in Australia will sell out a soccer stadium, though. I'll tell you that much.
So if Jeff Horn sold out, now don't get me wrong, the worldwide superstar was there as well, but they showed up for their guy, right or wrong. So much so, I think that one of that influenced some of the judges, because I didn't see Jeff Horn beat Tank.
Me neither. Yeah, that's me. I'm with you on that one.
But Hawk, that's what it is. If you're seeing light touches, it's because Tank actually fucking sells tickets, bro. He really sells tickets, whether you like him, whether you think he's proven or not. He sells tickets, and so why are you gonna risk your guy unless it's an absolute must, right? An absolute must in time to do it. I mean, hell, he's got a phony world title, as phony as Devin Haney. I get told daily on my Instagram how I'm tripping because I call Teofimo Lopez the undisputed lightweight champion of the world, and so to me, George Kambosos is the undisputed, and they come tell me quickly how he's not, because Devin Haney, and I say Lomachenko was the undisputed lightweight champion of the world, and just because the WBC decides to say the title you have, we're going to just make it a super one so we can give this other guy one who didn't fight for shit. Yeah. If you think that disrupts the lineal title, you're a fucking neophyte and a Devin Haney stand. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all you are. Because you're not. It's like when people was trying to pretend like the Gypsy wasn't the fucking real heavyweight champion of the world, but yet Wilder with this WBC trinket is getting compared to Muhammad Ali,
Wow.
the heavyweight
crazy.
champion
That
of
was
the world.
crazy.
The heavyweight champion, a title holder. When Mike Tyson was champion, did anybody think after he beat Spinks? Did anybody think anybody else was the champion? He's the champion. He's the man.
Right.
He was picking up WBC, IBF, all that shit, whatever belts it was. But until he beat Michael Spinks, he wasn't the champion, bro.
Right.
He wasn't the champion. That's when he became undisputed. But man, try explaining that to these kids who just started watching boxing whenever Floyd Mayweather fought fucking Oscar De La Hoya. Hell, that was mid-2000s, man.
Right. Hey, Coach, I love that you brought up Gypsy King. I wanted to tell you, I don't know if you know this, because we're about to go into our predictions now, right, for this weekend.
All right,
But my biggest and best prediction of all time was, and I still to this day, I'm very proud of it. I said that he was going to beat Vladimir Klitschko in Germany. And when that happened, man, I felt like I knew something nobody else did, you know. But anyway, that was my moment in the sun there. I was wrong this weekend. So, although we did.
You was right as rain though on that one. You was right as rain, bro. I don't even think I bothered predicting that fight, and I know for sure I didn't watch it the night it happened.
Oh yeah. I knew he was gonna win just based on watching him fight Chisora. I think it was Chisora the last time. I was like, man, this guy's turning into something special.
Yeah,
December 11th on ESPN in New York, ESPN Plus. Vasily Lomachenko and Richard Comey. Who you got on that one, Coach?
I'm gonna be glued in, bro. I'm a Richard Comey fan, but after what Loma did, Nakatani, he seems to be that guy that made what's the Cuban that everybody was so high on, Rigondeaux.
Yeah.
He seems to be the guy who made Rigondeaux say, man, fuck this, cut the gloves off, man. And man, people were picking Rigondeaux. Hey, you talk about picking fights. You know, I picked Loma in that one, of course, but that's nothing special. But 2 rounds before Rigondeaux quit, I told Quentin and all my fighters, Danger, Bam Bam, I told them all, I said Rigondeaux's about to quit in the corner. And they was like, Coach, you crazy. This is, unbeaten Cuban. So, wasn't he a gold medalist? Rigondeaux?
Yeah, I think 2-time. 2-time.
2-time, yeah. Coach, you crazy. I said that boy is about to quit. And 2 rounds later, he didn't come back out. Coach, how the hell you do that? I just recognize the signs. I'm not a fucking wizard. I just see the frustration and he can't do shit about it. It takes a special kind of man to do what Loma did against Teal.
Right.
Get dominated and say, fuck, ain't nothing working. I better bite down and fight. Yeah. I didn't see that in Rigondeaux. And plus, that's not his style of fighting. That's not what he does. You got to recognize the signs. That's all. Yeah. That's all.
So you think Lomachenko wins this fight?
Man, I'm probably going to be rooting for Comey. Yeah. But yeah, man, Lomachenko, bro. He showed me something against Nakatani. Them Asians, bro. We were saying this the other day, man. Them Asians are like kamikazes, bro. You got to kill me, man.
Tough.
I'm gonna keep.
Tough.
And he stuck the sword in his big ass. He didn't give a damn, bro. And I say, boy, Loma got a point to prove now. I know. So, and he's still a little bitty dude, but. Yeah, man, I guess we got to go with Lomachenko, man, on that one. What you got?
I agree, Lomachenko. I would say probably late stoppage, middle to late stoppage, man.
Yeah, I don't believe Comey's ever been P-laid like he was against Teal, but and I don't think Loma one punch him, but he absolutely can build up that knockout. Hit him so often he gets tired and falls out.
Right.
Yeah.
The other fight we have this weekend that's of interest to me, I mean, there's no Nito Donaire versus Raymart Gaballo. I don't know if you're following that. I'm not crazy about that one. That one's actually happening here in Carson too, by the way. But I like this Conor Ben. I like this Conor Ben kid, man. I'm interested in him versus Chris Algieri.
Man, we were supposed to, you know that. We were supposed to be in that camp. Quentin was supposed to go to England, and I really don't know what happened with it, but it fell through. I think it fell through whenever that fight fell through that we had on the zone. And the kid didn't even end up fighting on that show. We supposed to be on that Cambosa Tio show. They called me 4 days away from the fight and said, "Oh, never mind, is Quentin ready?" I said, "Nah, kiss my ass, man." but yeah, man. You say Conor Ben,
man.
He's a fun guy to watch, like his daddy. I think he's a little more closer to the entertainment value than the Eubanks kid is to his dad. Yeah. I watch Conor Ben. I'd rather watch paint dry than watch the other kid fight, but which is the same way I felt about Haney. Hey man, till the Linares fight, and in this one, shit, I ain't been excited about a Haney fight ever. Although I've watched them, yeah. Man, I fell asleep on Haney fights before, bro. Yeah, no, I've nodded off on his fights, man.
They weren't that good before these past couple. I agree. Well, I think Conor Ben wins this for Chris Algieri. I mean, I think they're probably just using Chris Algieri to continue to build Conor Ben's resume.
He's at that. Yeah, he's at that point. He's a decent talker. I'm not gonna say that I agree with his commentary. I think he's a different grade of background of boxing than myself, but he's far from the worst thing over there at the zone. I rather listen to him than a lot of people over there.
Oh my God. So it looks like you agree on this.
No disrespect if the zone's your top flight announcer crew, guys. If they your top guys, man, hey, more power to them.
And I'm going to say, Coach, this is another late stoppage for Conor Ben. Maybe middle rounds. What do you think about this one?
Maybe so. Yeah, maybe so. I think he gets him out of there. He's a young, fresh kid. Algieri's on the, shit. He's past the bag 9, right?
Yeah.
You got to say he hasn't been active. Has he fought once maybe in the last? Has he fought in the pandemic?
Only seen it.
I think he has.
I saw him fight
right?
one time, and it was a tough fight. It looked like, so.
Yeah, he's past it. I think, and if I'm not mistaken, he's a kickboxer, right?
You are not mistaken. He was a kickboxing champ. Yeah, so.
He's gonna always forever be the I'm gonna let the bird out the cage guy. His corner, you remember that when he was fighting Pac-Man? And he said, his corner said, "I'm fixing to let him out the cage here in a few rounds." And about that time, Pac-Man set him on his ass and stopped him. Y'all remember that? Oh, it was hilarious, man, because when they was doing the corner interviews, they was interviewing the kid. I don't even know who his trainer was. I didn't recognize him. Seemed like a young dude, young white guy. And he was interviewing, saying, "Man, what you think?" He said, "Man, I'm just about to let him out the cage, man." And about that time, Pac-Man popped him. I said, "Boy, that was piss poor time." Yeah, it can happen to anybody.
Yeah,
but that's what I think of when they talk about Chris Algieri.
I think of him at this point as more of a commentator and a nutritionist for Daniel Jacobs than anything else. So that's why, I also see him losing by a stoppage. Well, Coach, we've been on here almost an hour and a half. I want to thank you for your time again. This was a lot of fun. And if you guys are just, catching up with this, me and Coach are going to be doing this every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's 8:30 p.m. H-Town time where Coach is at. Don't miss it, man. Don't miss it. We're going to keep building this thing, and this is going to be the most intelligent boxing and kickboxing fighting channel on YouTube.
And we almost We almost changed the names to protect the innocent, but now we decided to go against it and call everybody out on their bullshit.
Much appreciated, Coach, man.
I don't mean no harm, brother. I don't mean no harm. I'm just telling the truth.
Sure, for sure.
All right, man. Appreciate y'all guys, man. We had some comments and stuff, man. Y'all go over there to that Soapboxing podcast. Give it a subscription, man. Subscribe and like and all that good shit too, man. We appreciate anything we can get.
For sure, for sure. And likewise with us, be sure to tune in to Fighters Rep. We're going to be putting out a lot of content for you guys. So we'll talk soon. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Coach.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, G. I'm gone.